Okay, so welcome back. So now what we're going to do is a really lovely simple craft skill. And we're going to do kind of two versions of it. And it's tie-dyeing. A very old skill, everyone knows what a tie-dye piece of clothing looks like. And we're going to do two ways of doing it. And we have a sample here. This is one that I just did yesterday. Now this is a slightly different version because this is tie bleaching. So normally when we do tie-dyeing, it's one of the things we're going to do now, you're going to take an item and you're going to dye it another colour. Now that can be a little bit more messy, it can involve buying the dye, which can be a bit more expensive, but actually one of the really easiest ways is to take any colour of a t-shirt. In this case, I took a really simple black t-shirt and I tied it and then I immersed it in a bleach solution. Just using a standard domestic generic brand bleach. Now you don't use pure bleach, so in a container of about this, which is about 5 litres of water, you'd put about 250 millilitres, quarter of a litre of bleach into it, stir it, and then tie and immerse your garment in it. Now you could use, I use black, and you can see that the original colour was maintained, and we'll show you the different ways of tying to get the different kind of shapes. You'll see on the back we had 3 circles, and we had one circle where we kept most of the colour and then bleached in the middle of it. We had sections where we broke it up, we put it onto the shoulder so it was coming over the shoulder. But this is with a t-shirt. You can just as easily do it if you had a simple dress, if you had a pair of jeans and you wanted to tie-dye the pair of jeans. You can do it with any natural fabric. It won't work with synthetic fabrics. So it's only with simple cottons, a linen, those kind of fabrics will naturally, wool won't tie-dye because it'll degenerate the material too much. So this is a really simple t-shirt. I think it was a doll's t-shirt. It was €2.50. So they're very reasonable for you to practice and try them. Now this is another version of one tied up. So the reason I wanted to show you this is I want to show you a few different versions of ties, and then Hannah and Anne are going to do up some t-shirts themselves and we're going to wet dye them. So we're going to dye them using a colour, not a bleach. Because obviously if you bleach white you'll get nothing. Whereas if you use any colour, like you buy a grey t-shirt or a red t-shirt or a green t-shirt, any coloured t-shirt, you can bleach it back. So you'll see here now, I've tied it using this string. Which, another string, I was looking for the, it doesn't matter, you can use any particular string. This is just a regular string that you would use, or we're going to use elastic bands. Elastic bands work really, really well, but either you can use a string. The most important thing when you're tie-dyeing is that you need to do it really, really tightly. Now, you'll see here I've grabbed a section of the t-shirt and I've run the string up the entire way along it and left a small section at the top that's not wrapped. The larger I leave that section unwrapped, the larger there's going to be a section that's going to be dyed. So that's going to be more likely to end up like this. Where the piece I've tied is going to keep a lot more of the original colour of the t-shirt. And that's where you'll see the piece in the front here will look a bit more like this one because the central piece is very small at the top. Then you can see here I folded it. So I folded a section and then I've used elastic bands on that. And again here just grabbing a piece and thinking about where you want to position the different knots. So then, now I left that to bleach overnight. And before I take off, when you bleach, before I take off anything, I wash it on a very quick wash in the washing machine just to wash all the bleach out of it. So now what we're going to do is just to snip off the threads and see what it looks like. And this is the bit where you can really have you really have that wow moment when you're doing this with students.
Oh, totally.
Because they're really, they're just going, oh, look the way it turned out, and look at mine versus yours. And the great thing about this is they are absolutely unique. There will not be another t-shirt like it or another pair of jeans like it because it's all down to the way you actually tied the garment. But when you're using the elastic bands now, and Anne and Hannah are going to be doing that, it's really, really important that you tie them very tightly. So you have to be careful that they don't snap. The upside of doing the elastic bands is that you don't have all of this bits of string.
And obviously, Billy, with the bleaching, you can't do other colours, it's just the one colour really, compared to the tie-dyeing, where you could start and you could add other colours to it if you wanted. You know, starting with the darkest and then going lighter.
So then all we're doing is snipping off. Now the great thing, and Anna's going to do a piece of it as well, like even if you were to take an old sheet at home,
which is what I have here,
and tie-dye a sheet, and then you end up creating a piece of fabric that you can use to make something else with.
Or even if you wanted to make something yourself, you know, you could actually just buy the cotton and design the fabric yourself, and then cut out the skirt or the top or whatever it is that you wanted to make.
That could be an extra piece to the bunting, like that we were doing this morning. You could do the fabric specifically for the tie-dye before you do the bunting.
And like even I used the pinking shears on this, so that when it was in the water and we've it all scrunched up and everything, then it's actually not going to unravel.
Yes.
So then it's easy to cut like that again once it's dyed.
And one of the nicest examples I've seen a student make of this is they bought a plain white quilt cover and pillowcases.
Oh, that's cool.
And then tie-dyed it themselves, and then they had their own kind of unique.
That's I like that.
Now let's have a look. Give it a shake out. So we can see in the centre then we have again that larger central piece with the circle. We brought it over the shoulder by tying the shoulder up here. Again, we did mostly one arm here on this side, not a small corner piece. Think about the positioning of where you put the knots. You can put loads of smaller knots around it if you want as well. And again, you can see on the back. But that will hold its colour now. In the warm dye we're going to use now, we put salt in to hold the colour. But the colour's already what we call fast in a t-shirt that has colour in it.
Yeah.
So when you bleach it, you're just never 100% sure. Black will normally bleach towards the orange range. Other colours like reds or greens or yellows will tend to just lighten.
Yeah.
Reds will become more pinks, etc. And they'll just lighten off. So again, you see two completely different t-shirts done in the very same way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of, this again just plain white t-shirt. So again, very cheap, non-expensive t-shirt at all. This was €2.50. And what we're going to do is we're going to allow Hannah, myself and Anne, we're going to knot them up, and these will be then dyed and shown tomorrow, and we'll see who, little bit of competition, who makes the best tie-dye t-shirt. So basically again, all you're doing, and I'll show you a couple of examples here and everyone else can jump in and start working away. I'm going to start on the side here rather than in the centre. So I'm going to take the side seam, I'm going to literally lift up the fabric, and I'm going to just make a small bundle of fabric, and I'm going to start by taking some elastic band and twisting that onto it. Now again, you keep going over and back. You don't, if it's loose, it literally, the dye will go through the whole thing and you just dye the t-shirt. So you need to have it nice and tight. Now if I was to leave that just there, this will be dyed, and there'll be a small section here maybe not dyed. Now I could go up the whole way along, or I can take it in sections, and I'm going to take this one in sections. So rather than go up and down really close together, I'm going to separate it. Now the other thing you can do, so you can see there, I'm doing it very tightly around one section, And what I can do also is I can fold a section back and then start wrapping around that like that. So that's on my side seam. Remember your sleeves are there as well. So after that then you can literally just keep knotting and tying. Now for some students that sense of an elastic band is going to, they won't like it because there's a worry that it'll snap.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in that situation, just use string. Any sort of string at all, knot it at the beginning, and I'll just grab, I have some string here to show you. So a few different versions. This is a really just simple cotton thread that I use. It's actually used for gardening because it's biodegradable and it just breaks down. So again here, if I'm just using a piece of cotton string, take a section I want to dye and tie. Now, so all I'm going to do here, so I'll move all this actually, is just firstly form a really simple little knot to get it nice and tight. And then wrap my thread around it. And again, make sure I'm wrapping it really, really tightly. And then knotting it in at the end. The end knot is very important so that it doesn't unravel. And I tend to go around a few times to just knot it at the end. So again, you can see there, it's being done with a simple thread or a string, and there it's being done with elastic bands. But either way, and you can do nice small ones as well. You don't have to always do larger knots. You can do some nice little small knots. They'll make really nice small tie-dyes. Now we won't know whose is whose, so it'll be great. No, that was definitely my one.
How are you?
Well, I have fabric on mine, so we know which one was mine. Now, the other thing you can do when you're doing something like this with the cotton one, you might have, you want to dye it a number of different colours. So what you would do is, let's say you might start off with, let's say, a yellow. And you will tie-dye the t-shirt yellow, and then you get it to this stage. So where you tie-dyed it, and you put it together, and then what you do is you will re-tie-dye it. You'll tie it up again and put another colour on top of it. And that means you're going to layer up the colours together. You can see Anne's knots there are much smaller, so she's going to get much more fine detail in the tie-dye that she's doing. And if you're using elastic bands, the slightly bigger ones are better. They just have a little bit more structure and shape to them. Now, so that's fairly well tied up there. I might just do one across the neckline. Just alter the neckline a little bit. Now, so what we're using here is a warm dye. So it means that there's a number of different dyes, and actually if you want, you can buy a really simple machine dye. And when you buy the machine dye, it comes in a little kind of a drum container, and it's usually about €7 or €8 for a container, and a machine dye would definitely do 3 or 4 t-shirts. It does around 8 ounces of fabric, which is about 250 grams, give or take, of fabric. And all you literally do is you pop your t-shirts into the machine, you pop the little drum of dye, that it contains the dye and the salt together, you run it on a hot wash, and that's it, done. It'll do everything, and then you run your machine empty afterwards to get rid of any residual dye in the machine. But it works actually really effectively. It's probably a little bit less messy than this way, and this way it's closer to a cold dye. Where, now again, when you're using dye, make sure
and your surface is protected.
Your surface is protected, and make sure that you're using good gloves as well, because the dye will dye your skin, and it is very important. And with this dye, you're going to add salt separately. With the machine dye, the salt's already in the packet. You don't need to add salt to it. And the instructions are all on the packet anyway. So what we're using is a red dye. So all we do then is add in and stir to dissolve our dye. And there are loads of ways, if you want to do more research, you can use loads of natural dyes. Yeah. So for example, you could take loads of tea bags and make a really, really strong mixture of tea.
Yeah.
And then take all your tea bags out and use that really strong tea to dye.
Cabbage.
Cabbage is another one. Gorse.
Yeah.
Makes a lovely yellow dye if you want to use it. So there's loads of ways of using natural dyes that will also be really, really effective. And I'm just going to continue to stir that for 1 second. And I'll just pop this in the bin as I drop the wooden spoon into the water.
Get a red spoon now as well.
I have a red spoon as well. Now,
I'm going to get you some tissue.
So all we're doing now is literally popping them in. You wouldn't have that last t-shirt there?
Yeah, sure.
Pop it in there for me, thank you. Now, what you want to do here firstly is mix in, because little air pockets will have formed in the fabric when you're tying it up as well, and they will stop the dye running through the fabric. So really all you're doing at this stage is mixing so that you know every single piece that needs to get the dye is getting the dye through it. And then we leave that, and we're going to leave it overnight?
Yeah, overnight, yeah. I mean, you can leave it for maybe an hour or two and take it out, but probably to get a better colour, we leave it overnight, and we can have a look at it then in the morning.
Yeah.
See what it looks like then.
Yeah.
It should look like lots of cork colours by then.
Or they might be dyed purple and gold over the night and nobody realises they come back to the purple and gold colours. So that's our tie dyeing done, and you can see there are samples of tie bleaching. But again, it's a really, really lovely way of using your creativity. And if you wanted to take that a little step further, with a t-shirt like this then, if you wanted, you could do some cross-stitching on it.
Yeah.
So you can add a little bit of embroidery on it to make something really individualistic, something really unique to yourself. And even looking at maybe around the edges, or around the base, or across the neckline. Really simple ways of just adding a little bit more of an embellishment to make something that's kind of really completely unique and just for you. So now we have had our t-shirts dyeing overnight just in the water. Now most importantly, as a general rule when we do this, it's good to kind of really rinse off the dye really well before you cut them. And there's two ways of doing that. You can either just rinse them. I would, if I was doing it at home now, I would pop them into a washing machine still tied, and let them run on a really short wash, still tied, and then take them out and cut off the ties. We've rinsed them a few times here now because we're doing them in the office. What we're going to do now is we're each going to snip off the elastics and have a look at them, and then we'll rinse them off again just to remove any excess dye. We've given them a good rinse, but what we want to see is that make sure any residual dye doesn't run into our tie dyeing. all you're doing is you're going around, and be very careful when you're doing this that you don't actually snip the fabric. All you want to do is to cut the tie or the elastic band. Now, generally when you're dyeing white, you will find that the dye will tend to run really well through the fabric. So you might not get as strong a contrast as we did when we were bleach dyeing something like the black. So going from a darker colour and lightening it will sometimes have a much stronger impact than going from a lighter colour and darkening it down a little bit. But it really just varies, and again, as I said when we were doing this, the most important thing is how tight that you tie your ties. The tighter they are, the better a tie-dye product you're going to get. And you'll see there's still some residual dye in it, but you can see our hands are slowly becoming redder.
And if we wanted to do another colour now on this again, Biddy, what did you say we do?
Well, you always go from lighter to darker. So, like for let's say if I wanted to dye this again, I might dry it off and I give it a wash and dry it, and then tie it up again, and maybe put a slightly darker, maybe a purple on top of it, and then I'm going to get a purple and a red together. That looks great, and those lines are really excellent.
I took your advice on the very tight elastic bands.
And you can see that you had the space between the elastic bands, and they really created those concentric circles.
And they're so even.
So you can see.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
And again, I had placed, you remember when we were doing it, I placed one around the neckline, because I wanted to create the line on the neckline. And then you can see again the way we had the larger sections not tied, and then just the ties with space between them. So just again a really simple example of tie-dyeing a plain, very inexpensive white t-shirt with some dye. But remember, this one we were dyeing it up, whereas with that one we were bleaching it down. So you're adding up a colour or taking out a colour. Let's have a look at that one, Hannah. That looks great.
Oh wow.
That looks really good.
And the back as well, Hannah. It's looking great.
Turn us around if we have a look. Excellent. Those lines, and again, Hannah's is a really good example of the value of really tight tie-dyeing, because that line, that white, stayed very strong. Now when that's washed again and dried, that white will come up even stronger.
Alright. That's the bit of fabric that we did.
Yeah.
So again, that is probably, you see.
No, but that's perfect.
Yeah, that was
like
white.
that will come up even more.
Yeah.
Now again, using something like bed linen, pillowcases,
yeah,
a white tablecloth, again a really nice way of making something that's very individualistic. And then you can, what's great actually with just pieces of white fabric like that, you can explore different dyes, adding more colour to it, building it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at ours.
Yeah.
Again, that's really good example of keeping the knots. There's just one little one down the bottom. I'll get there for you.
Because you really want to wear gloves, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
When you're doing that.
Well, it's fine if you've given them a really good wash.
Yeah. As soon as they came out of the machine, probably
You wouldn't need it,
transfer.
no.
It wouldn't transfer.
But remember, if you use the machine, always run the machine empty afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Just to wash off any residual dye. Again, came up really well.
Yeah.
Excellent, that actually came up. Again, really good examples of putting the space between where you put the elastic bands, give you those really clean lines.
Yeah.
Whereas if you use like the wrap, you're going to get more of a kind of a mottled effect, like I got there on that one.
Yeah.
So you can really see the difference about the way you want to place your design, the way you want it to look.
Yeah.
You might want to have loads of small circles. Again, that's really down to however you want to do it. So, the best of luck with your tie-dyeing, and again, we look forward to seeing all your great work. Thank you.